Good evening and welcome to the second, what was going to be short story Saturdays, but then very swiftly became short story and poetry Saturdays. I was saying to HJ last week that I write poetry, but I don't publish it. It stays very much in the depths of my computer. Whereas we are going to hear some of Beth's this evening, which will be lovely. Haiku, maybe something else, maybe both. So we shall find out. So welcome, Beth, aka BB Elson. This joined us before on a couple of two or three different panels, which is lovely. And you'll be joining us for in 3 weeks tomorrow for the Aylesbury, hence all the goodie bags behind me, for the Aylesbury Self Pub Fest. So if you live anywhere near Aylesbury and you're watching this, do come along on the Sunday, the 26th of April. So I'm going to, start with Beth. And we always go alphabetically, but Beth is my guest this evening. So we're going to take it in turns to read something out and probably say something. I will have a notebook next to me if I was a little bit more organised. And then comment if we wish on what we've just heard. Okay, Beth, fire away with Swan Song.
All right. Well,
Thank
thank you
you.
very much for inviting me this evening,
You're
Morgan.
very welcome.
And yes, most of the time we've met before. I've been talking about my novel, Heroes and Traitors, but I do have an anthology of short stories and poems for mindful reading called Coffee and Commute. So um, uh, all of tonight's readings will be from Coffee and Commute.
Right.
And I will start with one called Swan Song. As we're not quite past the whatever it is they call it at 9 o'clock, I will just point out that and I think with all my pieces tonight, there are what you might call adult themes. In this
Okay.
case, there's a bit of description of violence, but entirely appropriate to the scene.
Okay.
So,
Not a problem.
sorry.
Not a problem. No,
Okay.
when I upload them to YouTube, there is a "is it made for kids" option, and
Right.
I always tick no. In fact, the default is no,
Yeah,
so that's no problem.
thank you.
Okay.
Swan Song. I can still feel their beaks stabbing me and their wings beating me again and again. I'm bruised and bleeding, but they have not quite killed me. So be it. I should suffer. I should lie here and sing out my sorrow. I have done as they have done, and more. After all, when I arrived 9 summers ago with my handsome tufted yellow beak from the narrow waters between the ugly walls, we chased away the nice old couple who lived here. Out of nowhere, we splashed down into their pond and we lunged at them. They were sensible. They just went. They realized that they had to give way to the exuberance of our youth, our right to take what we wanted, because we were the future of this water and they were the past. They flew off to find some oily backwater where they might die from hunger or disease in the short days. My yellow beak and I, we did not care. We had worked hard to find the right space to call our own, and this was it. Room enough for one pair and no more. Sheltered, plenty of food, well-tended surroundings with good nesting material. Oh yes, this small stretch of water was swan heaven. How passionate was our first summer here? Very. Heads bobbing, beaks touching, tails flipping, wings flapping, swimming along chest to chest. We could not get enough of each other. And so it was, for year after year. He was a star shining on the shimmering water. He helped to build our nests. He tended to me as I sat on our eggs. He was attentive when the grey fluffs broke out of them, and helped me to tutor the little ruffians in the ways of swanness. He gave me everything an egg layer could ask for. We raised so many young ones, As each batch grew large and white, we shooed them away to fend for themselves elsewhere. They could fight their own battles for space to raise their own young. That was our legacy, our hard work for the survival of swankind. Nothing occurred to disturb our idyll, and we didn't even notice that we were getting old. All I expected was that our longing to be together and mate together would carry on. The illnesses of the flocks on the estuaries could not touch us. The risks of life near the ugly walls and wide black paths were long behind us. My yellow beak was still handsome, and I was still popping out eggs. The natural cycle of our lives was comfortable and predictable. Seasons came and went. Winters were always hard. No bird, no matter how lush their plumage, can abide the cold, grey days. And there is boredom. No mating, no nesting, no nurturing the young. There is just waiting. One short day, in what must have been the 13th long wait I had known, there was something ominous in the sky. I could feel it, but I did not understand it. Whatever was going to happen would happen. A swan does not question why. It had never happened before, but it happened then. A young, strong yellow beak landed on our pond. Something stirred in me that I didn't like but couldn't control. It was something that a swan should not feel, I was sure of that. I should be sailing out with my mate to chase the cocky intruder off our long-cherished home and attack him if need be, although I had not tapped my aggression for a long while. My mate sailed out, hissing furiously. The stranger hissed back. I was drawn to watch the stranger, his feathers puffed so elegantly on his well-muscled wings. My mate flapped and reared up several times. The stranger returned the gestures. Eventually, my mate lunged to grab the stranger's neck with his beak. The stranger swerved nimbly away and then launched himself at my mate. And I joined in. I bit and beat my loyal companion. I was full of disgust for him, an old creature has been. As he backed away, the stranger swam out proudly into the centre of the black water. Heads bobbing, beaks touching, tails flicking, wings flapping, swimming along chest to chest. He excited me. What joy to be wanted by this exotic young creature! What a swan of swans I must be to have attracted such a mate, who might have found so many others on the waterways nearby. His youth made me feel young again. His virility warmed my spirit. The old yellow beak would not leave. Of course not. He had committed to me for life. But his skulking in the reeds annoyed me. He was the evidence that I was unnatural, that I had committed a gravely unswanlike act. Perhaps he would starve. Perhaps his pining would break his heart. Perhaps he would sicken. But he did not. His bruised and torn body sailed out onto the pond one last time. I saw the faint hope in his eyes, but this time the stranger and I showed no mercy. We damaged every limb. He hobbled onto the bank and out of our way for good. The stranger and I were free now, free to enjoy each other. We were dizzy with flirting in the thin spring sun. The mating was vigorous, but as time passed, I wondered whether eggs were coming and felt some disquiet. Was I? Surely not. Past it. As spring turned to summer, the eggs finally came, and I forgot my worries. The summer was fruitful and fun as the stranger and I launched 5 fine grey fluffs into the world. Alas, summers don't last. The days started to shorten, but I was content and ready for another cycle of life with this hot young mate. Until the stranger started to swim off every morning to the spot in the reeds where the old yellowbeak had hidden from us. He seemed to be looking for him. Then he would draw back suddenly and swim off to the other side of the pond. I would seek him out and try to comfort him, but he was becoming distant. In time, he started to sicken. He was listless, He could not eat. Foul stuff seeped from his eyes and beak. I was deeply sad now. I cared for him as best I could until he drew his last breath. I was alone throughout the short days and the cold. I swam, I ate, but I was empty. I felt trapped and vulnerable. Time dragged on. Just as daylight started to lengthen, a new yellow beak appeared. Oh, the relief. My life could begin again. But no. After a short survey of the surroundings and me, he flew off. Did he sense what I had done? Despite his rejection, I started to build a nest. It was what I always did when the days got longer. What else could I possibly do? I was interrupted. I knew what they were going to do as soon as I heard the whine and beat of their wings approaching. Out of nowhere, they splashed down into my pond and lunged at me. They sneered at my oldness and aloneness, expecting me to give way to the exuberance of their youth, their right to take what they wanted because they were the future of this water and I was the past. They did not care. They had worked hard to find the right space to call their own, and this was it. Room enough for one pair and no more. I sat in the reeds and watched them, just as the old yellowbeak had watched me with the stranger. I did try to move on once. Wings open wide, with a grunt, I launched myself upwards and circled a few times. But I was not meant to die at another pond. I was meant to die where I had loved and lost. I was not going to leave quietly like the nice old couple. Let the glamorous new pair do the dirty work. I landed in the early morning, exhausted, and waited for them to notice me. Immediately they tore across the pond, hissing and spitting. Their beaks tore chunks out of me, their wings smashed into me. They did what they had to do. There is only room for one pair on this pond. But why didn't they finish me off? I must hobble away, like my old yellow beak hobbled away. Will hunger or illness find me? Or will he?
Wow. My goodness. Poor old Yellowbeak. How
Yeah,
original. Bless
yeah.
him. Oh, I like this circularity of it, of
Hmm.
of the pond being new and then seasons going, 13 seasons going on, and the shorter days and longer days and being replaced
Mm.
by the young. It had a lot of humanity to it. You can imagine
Yes.
everything happening in human terms.
Yeah.
Um, I wrote down lots of lovely phrases. So be it. There's a nice voice to it. Um, Singing out my sorrow, the ugly walls. Yes, I put, and this was it. There's a lovely voice, the swan heaven, and the ways of swanness, um, swan kind. Yes, and the hot young mate. How she had the hot young mate, and then this new couple has then got a hot new mate.
Mm. Yes.
So although she's done the dirty, you kind of feel sorry for
Mm.
her, really, by the end of it, that she
Yeah,
thought she knew best and ended up.
I mean, it's nature, which of course is red in tooth and claw and beak in this case.
Mm,
Um, and it's actually based on a true story.
okay.
Now we are told that swans are monogamous, as we would
Yes,
consider
normally
it,
the mate for life.
um, uh, in about 93% of cases, but is this kind of small minority that will change,
Mm,
presumably when given the right opportunity.
right.
Um, and I was staying with a cousin in Edinburgh, and she knew that I quite often liked identifying birds. So she said, "Oh, let's tell you about swans on the local pond." And so um, the trustees of the local park with this pond in it
Mm,
for oh gosh, it must be about 20 years now. They've been logging the behavior of the swans. So this kind of all unfolded to them as a day-by-day soap opera. I've tried to encapsulate it in a short story.
Mm,
Yeah, so it was going on for a long time, and uh, for me coming to it, first of all, it so reminded me of Emile Zola's novel Thérèse Raquin,
right.
where the docile wife takes a lover and then they conspire to kill the husband, but the guilt kills them both in the end.
Wow.
Um, I mean, particularly the fact that the young male that came in became ill after a couple of years. Um, it wasn't bird flu, but one way or another, I mean, there are other things out there that will take their toll in nature.
Mm,
Um, and I just could not get it out of my mind, this real story, until I'd got it on my screen.
mm,
Um, And it was just one of those things. I didn't have a particular competition in mind. I didn't have a particular writing exercise in mind. It
mm.
was just there, and it had to come out.
Sure. You've got the, are you reading from the paperback?
Yes,
Yes. Could you hold it up so we can see it? Oh,
because
probably in front of, maybe in front of you. Oh no, no, can't see it at all. That's okay.
interesting. There's not much to see actually. It's basically just the blue cover.
Mm.
The blue to be peaceful because it's for mindful reading.
Mm.
No,
I
do
should have brought
that.
my
It
copy.
just
Oh,
seems to oh,
oh,
hang on a minute.
there we go.
There you go. You
Oh,
get a little bit of the blue there.
yes, that's okay. I could have brought my because I have a copy here.
Oh,
Um, so how long did it take you to put the collection together? Are they things that you had over a certain amount of time and
yes.
just thought I'd like to make a paperback? But then this came out presumably before Heroes and Traitors.
Well, the idea to do a collection came afterwards because it was sort of triggered by 2026 being the National Year of Reading.
Right.
And I thought, well, what could I release that would be supportive of people getting back into reading,
Okay.
people who are busy and only have a short span to
Mm,
appreciate something. So
sure.
I thought, oh, well, of all the things that I've written over the past 3 years, there's got to be a collection there. And so I went through them all, and indeed there was.
And
It's a
how did you
particularly
just
fat book. It's 200 pages.
okay? And how did you decide which order to put them in? Because I'd written a certain amount of 300 and something. It was pretty much a year's worth of short pieces.
Mhm.
And I know when you're traditionally published or publishing, that the rare publishers who want short story collections, there's generally tends to be has to be a theme.
Mhm.
And I thought, well, my reading the back of this one, this is what I'm reading from Shorts, which is up there. This collection contains 82 stories of 500 words and over. We have crimes afoot, characters with and without friends, loves lost and found, homages, heroes and zeros, humans and non-humans, ghosts and a werewolf. So trying to find a theme for all of those. So what I ended up
Mhm.
doing, because a lot of them are very short, so this is the other one, which is Flashes,
All right.
and I'll
Mhm.
probably read one of those, one or two of those. And this collection comprises 249 stories, all under 500 words. We have revenge, luck and misfortune, sharp edges, sticky red hands, family heirlooms, legends of history. That's Bonnie and Clyde. writer's block, Chelsea buns, alien hums, and scratches, squeaks, and barks. So the only way I could think of doing it, and they were about the right length,
Mm.
probably about 60 to 70,000 words. Um, well, yeah, 249 under 500. That they worked fairly well, evenly, being up to 500 words and then 500 words and over. And that's the only way I could work out how to get them in two collections, because I had them as five different in
Hmm.
chronological order for when I'd written them. So really they weren't in any order at all other than when I created them. And they were they were so thin volumes that they couldn't, it wasn't deep enough to have a spine.
Hmm.
So I repackaged them, and also it was more expensive to do it that way. So then I decided to just do it by length.
Mm.
So flashes.
Well, what I tried to do was find some themes, and I think they're themes that are probably uh, common across literature.
mm,
Actually, trying to find where they're explained. But anyway, I mean, the first theme is the natural world, which is obviously some relationship to nature. Swan
mm,
songs in that section.
sure.
The second theme is yearning, which is where, well, in my case, it's mostly unrequited love, but it's
That's
yearning.
more interesting to talk about than
Yeah.
requiting. Something has to go wrong in anything we write. There has to be something.
Mysteries. Um, Something that's probably unique to me is theme for struggle. Is I'm interested in social change. As you know, the Civil War comes up quite a bit.
Mm,
Um, um, and theme five is I've called it every day. It's where all the lighter pieces are
nice.
because some of my stuff are heavy.
And did you intersperse poetry with your
Yes,
short stories
yeah.
like that?
Although I discovered because I was doing this post hoc, there wasn't an equal balance. So,
Mm.
for example, Struggle, quite a few blogs in Struggle.
Mm.
Natural World, actually more poetry than short stories. I suppose.
Poetry lends itself
Sorry.
poetry lends itself
Yes.
to nature,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
I think it does.
Mm.
Um, and um, yeah, it's quite a lot of flash fiction in the everyday.
Right.
But there we go.
Nice, nice. Well, I'm going to start off with. I thought I'd probably, because as I said, there's no rhyme or reason for what I've put in here. They are literally in order. So last week I read the first story of shorts. So that's 500 words, called "Waiting for the Number 12." So the next one in the collection is called "An English Summer," and HJ and I touched briefly on the second person point of view. You, I don't know if it's ever something you've written or come across, where
Um,
you're.
I have come across it, and it's really hard to do. So yeah,
Well, I love doing it. I
yeah.
wouldn't write a novel in it because it's
Mhm.
quite wearing, and some people find it accusatory. And I judge short story competitions. Very rarely come across a second person piece. And I was in Slough a couple of weeks ago, presenting doing the results and presenting the awards to the top five, because there were three and then two highly commended. And I mentioned one of them had got second person in it, and so I said that if you're writing a short story, writing for a short story competition, if you find, and you're never going to know, but if the judge doesn't like second person, then they still have to judge it on its merit. But if they don't like second person, then you're not going to fare probably as well as if you'd written it in first or third. But you're never going to know. You're never going to know your judge, in theory, and they won't know because they're unless the judge. I run a 50-word exactly competition on my blog, and so I know who the stories come in from. But even so, I judge them on their merit. And I said, but a lot of people, very few people, write short second person. So it's worth trying. And if you happen to find a judge who likes it, then you're on a winner. But you're not going to know. So this is in second person. It's called An English Summer, and I haven't read it for a long time. I should have been a bit. I should have read it before this evening. But there we go. An English Summer. Sheltering from the storm under the old oak tree, you look up and try to find a break in the clouds. The harder you look, the more you realise there's no shading. It's all one colour grey, like photocopy paper for bland posters about bland events. And that reminds you of Eric and why you left him. He'd been the fun one at the beginning, pulling you to places you hadn't wanted to go, until he'd stopped pulling and settled in Hull. Dull Hull. He'd laughed and said it could have been worse, that it could have been Corby, but at least you knew people in Corby. I lived in Corby for a while. You'd weathered each other these past 10 years, outgrowing him as you'd become outgoing, going out with friends from the gym and the writing group. He'd had his bowling club, but then they'd laughed at him, an innocent laugh, and he'd vowed never to return. With no interest in writing or getting fit, he'd refused your invitations, so stayed at home and vegetated. And it'd been like that until you'd woken up one morning, looked at him, and realised there was nothing. No passion, no laughter, no happy ever after, and you'd wanted more. So you'd packed and gone to live with one of the poets, Sadie, and you'd begun to laugh again. And so had your writing. Dark tales turned to humour, and you'd watched the glint in Sadie's eyes as you read them to her. Until last week, when Eric had turned up, full of fury, full of the passion that had been missing, but he'd got it all wrong. She was just a friend, a colleague of the arts. He'd pushed you aside into the banister, winded you, and you'd sat down for a moment to catch your breath. Sadie and Eric had argued about you, but you hadn't wanted that attention. So you went through to the kitchen where Sadie was making dinner and watched in slow motion as Eric grabbed the knife from her hand and plunged it into her heart. The heart that had been full of compassion for a stray, for you. He'd been full of remorse after the event, but it was too late to explain. And now, as the rain falls, you watch them lower the coffin, look over at Sadie's husband, Ronan, and their 2 children, and you want to say sorry again, for the 100th time. But all you can think of is that it's summer, that it should be warm, that you should be wearing a skimpy dress, with Sadie reading poetry to you, clinking glasses of Pimm's. As Ronan throws earth into the hole, you feel a tug at your wrist and look round. The man in the new navy uniform tells you it's time to go. He gives you a kind smile, as if he's on your side, as well as being as if he's on your side, as well as being by your side. You take one last look back at Ronan. He nods as you're led away to start the life sentence for killing the man who'd killed his wife. I do
Ooh.
write cheery stuff. It's tend to be quite dark. I say
Well, body count there for a short story.
even in my romances, I usually kill someone off. In this one, she goes on a date who says that that his wife had died, and it turns out she'd run off with another woman. So there we go.
Well, I mean, it's interesting how much you packed into that because obviously it starts out with the uh a marriage that's decayed, and you get all these strong images of blandness. I noticed how you've got some rhymes in there, so it's quite poetic, dull
I think that's
hull and
probably more luck.
and after.
Thank you. It's probably more luck than anything else.
Yeah. Um,
But thank you.
and I, yes, I mean, you kind of packed a whole novel into a short story because um, after we start to see the hope that emerged,
Mm.
and then there's this kind of terrible denouement. Um, but yeah, I mean, and a killer punch at the end because I thought, well, why is she attached to a man in a blue uniform? And then, of course, it came out. The answer was there in the final sentence.
Which is very unfair because she was it was too late for Sadie, but she's
Hmm.
got a she's now got a our well, I was going to say narrator, but not narrator. The reader effectively
Hmm.
has just killed him after he'd killed poor Sadie. Yeah, I never know where they come from. I mean,
Of
this was
course,
written a
in
long time
plots,
ago.
it
So.
might be a crime of passion, I suppose.
Mm,
Hmm.
yes, yes, I think yes. I I think the law has softened these days.
Hmm.
But if it's proven that he killed Sadie and then the wife killed him, then who
Hmm.
knows? Yes. Tim and I like watching Police Interceptors, and there was somebody yesterday who'd attacked a police officer, twice actually. He was trying to get into the car, and the chap was, well, I think, I'm not sure, pushed him away or did no was driving the car back, so dragged the officer for a few yards, and then when the officer got back in the car and then followed this person, and then again this chap was trying to attack the policeman because he was trying to arrest him, and he got a 40. And we always wait for the suspended sentence because they
Hmm.
say, oh, he was sentenced to X months or X years, and then invariably we know how obviously it depends on different courts, but um, we wait quite often because they deserve, in most cases they deserve the sentence, and it's all on body cam, and they've got a camera because it's a TV series. They've got the cameraman following them, so you kind of think, well, there's the evidence, you have it
Yeah.
on film. And this chap was sentenced to 14 months suspended for 2 years or whatever it is.
Good.
He's got to behave
Oh.
himself in 2 years. You just think that's crazy. And
Hmm.
then there was another one, where something similar, but not actually as bad. But I think there were other things going on.
Hmm.
And this chap was sent to prison for a couple of years. Do you think, well, what about the other one?
Hmm.
Anyway,
Right.
so back to you.
All right. Okay. This one is a little bit lighter in the
Okay,
tone, you'll be pleased to know.
that's all right.
Uh,
I like dark. I'm happy to have everything. And the title was perfect, by the way. Swan Song.
oh, thank you.
Perfect. Yeah.
Um, yes, well, you'll gather from the title of this one that I'm a Led Zepp fan, but
Oh, great.
um,
When the levee breaks. No.
yes, well, as you know, I have just got back from a walking holiday.
Yeah.
And so I did write this a while ago, though, after a previous walking holiday where certain things one might have liked to have done either didn't happen or you were, discouraged. So
Right.
here we go.
What's it called?
Rambling on.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Dusk has fallen on a cluster of ancient cottages nestling in a sheltered dale underneath a forbidding fell. Underground, foxes and badgers are stirring, ready to start their nocturnal foraging. Above ground, electric lights are glowing from every window. In particular, the glow from a small function room in the small local hotel is particularly cosy. It glows onto the black stream that rushes through the village engorged virtually every day by fresh rain. In the small function room, 37 eager middle-aged holidaymakers are seated, glancing occasionally towards the view from the window, which might be awesome were it not for the reflected glare of the electric lights. They are chattering away cheerfully. At one end of the room, three tall, thin people, two men and one woman, are standing, deep in conversation, nodding to each other seriously. They are conspicuously clad in gear from famous outdoor adventure brands. It's one of those who punctures the cheerful chatter. Good evening, intrepid walkers. A deathly hush falls. The speaker emits a slight feminine cough, indicating that the hush is perhaps not quiet enough for the gravity of what she has to say. She waits. The gathering stares at her, waiting for enlightenment. Good evening and a very warm welcome to the Ramblers Rest Hotel in the heart of the Killer Blister Moors. My name is Martha, and I am one of your walk leaders for your holiday this week. Martha looks from face to face, smiling. She has been told to smile, so she smiles, and she says, first of all, sorry and all that. I have to do the house rules. The staff here work very hard to keep you comfortable and well fed, so we have to do a few things for them in return. The house rules start with this one. There is something called a boot room for muddy things, so don't bring any wet or muddy stuff into any other room. There is a horrified gasp from the gathering, and one troubled soul pipes up. Oh, heck, I've forgotten my gaiters. The trousers are going to get muddy. Martha looks sympathetically at her. Perhaps you could walk to your bedroom in your thermals. Was it a joke? A waft of nervous laughter rises from the holidaymakers. Martha continues. Please check the fire notice in your room. No fire drills are planned, so if you hear the alarm, you do have to get out. No toasting your toes waiting for a hunky firefighter, okay? Another little joke? A few of the assembled chuckle. Breakfast is between 7:30 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. Set your alarms or you go hungry. Dinner starts at 7 p.m. and if it is your way to be fashionably late, you'll miss a course. Believe me, you don't want to miss out on calories this week. A few more rumbles of amusement roll around the room. But now Martha must change the mood. She pauses and paces for a bit of dramatic effect. She looks down at her notes and then up again to her expectant audience. Now, walkers, to your choices for tomorrow. I'm leading the moorland walk. How many of you fancy the moorland walk? She scans the room. So many eager hands are held aloft. Martha counts quietly. 15 of you. No hands go down, despite her implied surprise. Oh. Martha tries to convey some disquiet, to let them know that 15 is not what she had wanted to see. But she has been here before. She can manage this. Well, you need to hear a bit about it before you make your final decision. Can you see the map? The audience strain forward, screwing up their eyes at the chart on the wall that Martha is tapping with a pointer. They chatter and grumble. A reedy voice from a grey-haired woman in a brown cardigan complains loudly. All I can see is a ziggy-zaggy red line. What's that supposed to tell me? It tells you that we're going into a valley and then zigging and zagging up a steep ridge onto the top of the world, where we walk around a bit and come back down the other side and walk back round. Old women in brown cardigans are soon patronised into their place, in Martha's experience, and their place, in Martha's opinion, is on an easy riverside walk. She continues. On a good day, there are magnificent views up there, ladies and gentlemen. Mother Nature's bounty, a wonder to behold. Martha pauses, clasps her hands, and looks upwards, as if in rapture. Then she resets her gaze, resting pitiful eyes on her intrepid walkers. But alas, tomorrow is not a good day. You'll be walking in cloud most of the time. Wetness of the utmost cold and uncomfortable kind is guaranteed. It seeps through the best of walking gear, your pristine, expensive gear, which will be caked in mud rich in sheep droppings after 10 minutes. And you must check every puddle with a walking pole in case it's masking an ankle breaking hazard. I take it that you all have two poles. As the holidaymakers wonder if the cheap gear they've got in a closing down sale is up to the job it will be asked to do, a woman who has seen fit to come to the walks talk in a red evening dress asks, when are the drink and meal breaks? Martha smiles knowingly, intrepid indeed. If we find some shelter, don't be misled by that Bronte Wuthering nonsense. If the wind gets into your coat on these moors, you could be blown all the way to Belfast. Undeterred, an overweight man who looks to Martha the type to have prostate problems inquires about another essential comfort. Are there any toilets? Martha is dismissive. Of course not. The National Parks Authority isn't going to blight the majesty of the moors with a toilet block. You'll have to wild wee. The lady in the brown cardigan hears this and wails. But what about the ticks? Martha knows how vulnerable an old lady might feel when squatting bare-bottomed over heather grazed by scrawny, parasite-infested sheep. And it triggers a need in her, a need to indulge the demon that urges her to give a reality check to these couch potatoes who think that they can walk. She wants to smile, but she keeps a straight face. She would not want these people to think that her reply is one of her little jokes. They'll crawl in somehow and make themselves comfortable anyway. Check yourself very carefully when you get back. I hope that you've all got the proper remover tools and someone with a strong stomach to operate them. Martha sees eyes widening and lips quivering. Good. A bearded man in ugly framed spectacles, the complaining type in Martha's mental portfolio of types, tries another line of inquiry. Will we get to see the lumps of rock standing stone? It's in the programme. Now Martha smiles a sardonic smile of a person with power over events, as she explains, the programme is subject to change according to weather conditions and the walk leader's discretion about safety. So don't hold your breath on that one. Martha's intrepid walkers are now chattering again, but it is nervous, apprehensive chatter. She can almost taste their despondency. She's pleased with herself. It's time to ask again. Now, how many of you are thinking of taking the moorland walk tomorrow? She looks out at the people she had ironically labelled intrepid walkers, seeking intimidating eye contact, in particular with brown cardigan, red dress, ugly spectacles. 3 defiant hands are raised. 3! Of course, there are always a few who insist that their masochistic tendencies are indulged. They would demand a walk in an amber storm warning. There is only one hope left, that one of her colleagues will mention something so compellingly attractive about their walks, like a visit to a model train shed, that hooks the masochists. Martha drops her parting hint to the audience. Well, wait until you hear what Ken and David have to say. She turns to one of the 2 men in check shirts standing behind her, and in a tone somewhere between desperation and menace, she says, Ken?
Love it. Oh, you can tell you've been on rambles. You've been on walking. There's so much like the punctures the cheerful chatter, and it's lovely. The word choice you use. The killer blister, was it killer blister moors?
Yes, killer blister
Yes.
moors and lumps of
Um,
rock standing stones.
yes. And the waft of nervous. I didn't catch the next bit. Walk around a bit. Yes, it's very kind of the beginning's quite it's fine and walk just go there and walk around a bit and do this and then it's clear. I like it's definitely show rather than tell because you start off with 15 hands and to her disappointment and I love the description of the yes the rich in sheep droppings and their cheap clothing from closing down sales and wuthering nonsense and their wild weeing. Um, Almost taste the despondency. A model train shed would have Tim there in a heartbeat. He's a
Yeah.
trains, planes, and automobiles. Yes, and just between desperation and menace. It's the last
Mm.
thing I wrote down.
Well, I'm very flattered that you said show not tell because I normally have so much difficulty with show
Do
don't
you?
tell. Yes, yeah. Well, it's one of the facets of my autism that I like to tell.
Right.
So, I mean, obviously in blogs, particularly my History Elf blog, that's
Hmm.
not too much of a problem. But when it comes to fiction, I have to concentrate so hard on it.
Hmm. But I think
Mm,
if you just imagine yourself there as you
mm,
were, and then how you would feel as Martha, and how you would be watching Martha, and it's very much the how she reacts rather than say she doesn't say anything. She doesn't say 15's too many. I'm
mm.
going to persuade you not to go, and then still manages to get three who are determined to do it regardless. Oh,
Mm.
that's sweet. I think I've got something a bit more cheerful. Um, yes, this is called Life in the Old Dog. Um, Condoms. Why are there condoms in your handbag? Oh, this is another second person. Again, I haven't read this for a little while. There are, yes, this is second person again. Um, why are there condoms in your handbag? You look at the outside again and make sure it's your bag. You knew it was when you opened it, and the rest of the contents are yours, but these certainly aren't. Your mind races for clues. The only other person to go near the bag was Cliff, and he'd have no use for condoms. As far as you're aware, he's never cheated on you. And anyway, he's so short sighted and deaf, you'd never notice or hear if anyone was, what's the phrase the youngsters use today? Hitting on him. You're always so fastidious about leaving your bag unattended, ever since being cautioned at the airport when Cliff took you to Paris for your 40th wedding anniversary. Not cautioned, he'd say, warned, but it felt like they were the police, with their starched uniforms and polished shoes. Today, the only time you went out was to go to the supermarket, then the garage for petrol. You'd filled the trolley while Cliff sat in the cafe. Then you'd filled the car with unleaded while he queued to pay. Then he'd thrown the receipt and some chocolate in your bag. The chocolate you'd picked out when you'd got home, put it to one side on top of the washing machine while he'd parked the car in the garage, and that's when you'd found the condoms. The receipt, you remember, will explain all. Petrol, chocolate, condoms. So it was Cliff. You look up to the ceiling to avoid the tears you know you want to cry, but you won't give him the satisfaction. You know he's not bought them for you. You stopped having babies years ago. So if they're not for you, the threat of tears turns to welling anger, and you have your arms crossed when he walks back into the kitchen. The garage door's rather squeaky. Could do with a bit of WD-40, but seems I've run out. Could you remind... You say nothing, just stare at him, the washing machine, then back at him. He looks as innocent as the day you met. He turns back to you, a frown crinkling on his normally smooth forehead. What, dear? His eyes follow yours as you turn from him again to the contents on the top of the washing machine, and he smiles. Oh, yes, fancy some. Your scowl softens to a frown, so he continues. Chocolate, it's fruit and nut, your favourite. And these? You hold up the packet of condoms. I know, he says. I've tried giving up. I didn't think you'd mind if I only got a pack of 10. 10? I'll make them last. I chose a different brand to normal. Normal? These are supposed to be better for you. You're about to throw them at him when he continues. Low tar. What? Cigarettes. I know, I shouldn't. These aren't cigarettes, Clifford, aren't they? No, Clifford, these are condoms. They are? Why does she give me condoms? You burst out laughing at his pained expression, like the little boy you remember from school. Cliff winks, takes your hand and leads you upstairs.
Oh, charming.
Who knows where that idea came from?
Oh, well, wherever it came from.
Exactly.
So original.
Could have
I suppose, yeah, I mean, at one point I thought, oh no, has he got Alzheimer's and he's gone in and asked for condoms instead of
Right,
something
something else.
innocent. Um,
Yes.
ah,
There
well,
we go. So that's just over 500 words.
hmm,
Okay,
yeah, very funny.
thank you. Could we have a bit of poetry?
Oh, let's see if we can have a bit of poetry. I will read out something I will be reading out in a couple of weeks' time in Marlow.
Okay.
Um, what's it gone?
Is this a 24?
It's a page
24?
that page number that should be ingrained in my memory because it
Right.
was um, one where there was a typo. Well, no more, of course, with the wonders of self-publishing
Exactly. Exactly.
ADP.
Yes.
This is called Queen of Trees.
Interesting.
Let me lie in your spread copper skirts. Let me feel your toes sucking sugar and spice from the chalky loam. Let me caress your sculpted grey limbs and bask in the smell of your strength. Sway your arms in dance with the murmuring breeze. Shake the jewels in your waving hair. Let me bathe in the softness of their shade. My eyes could drink that shimmering green all day long. Let the sunlight dazzle down from the rich blue sky to worship thee, casting silver on the dusty red path. I crave your embrace, fairest queen of trees, but I have no offering, only words.
Wow. Got a lovely rhythm. It's sort of I don't know how it's could you show me how it's written? Because it feels like there's a sort of oh yes, it's lovely.
Is it actually showing? It is, isn't
Yes, it is. Yeah, and then we've got some yes. Are there two pieces on that page with similar titles? Or there's something at the
No,
top and then
the bit at the top is the introduction,
okay.
the context for mindful reading.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. No, it's
So
lovely. And then of course you got
it's
the
top
alliteration. There
contained.
were a couple of C's. That's lovely. Um, I'm going to read out a. I love writing dialogue. So if I do this, and then if you'd like to, you mentioned you may have a haiku. You want to end with a haiku. Um, so I'm not going to say who this is an homage to until after. For anybody who doesn't get who this might be. So it's two characters, and they're just literally bouncing back and forth about a third character, and it's called Double Trouble, and it's all just dialogue. She looks lost. She's not lost. She's looking around like she's lost. She's taking in the scenery. She doesn't look very happy. No. We should speak to her. We should. You might frighten her. No, you might. Why me? You're bigger. No, I'm not. R2. She's coming this way. She's looking at us. No, she's not. Shh. You're the loud one. And you're the ugly one. You're stupid. Loud and stupid. I can change. You're still ugly. She's turning away. Where's she going? She looks lost. She's not lost. She's looking around like she's lost. She's taking in the scenery. She doesn't look very happy. No, we just speak to her.
Hmm. Oh, intriguing. So, You say it's a homage to
Yes.
um, Joyce Grenfell by any chance?
Well, possibly. My mum was a big fan of Joyce Grenfell.
Uh-huh.
It's Tweedledum and Tweedledee. So
Oh,
the
mm,
homage to Lewis Carroll.
mm,
So it's the pair. Alice
right.
is
Yeah, yeah, I
and I
get
think I
it.
probably would have seen a film version or cartoon version where
Hmm.
there's a scene where she's looking for something and they're just talking about her behind her back. And so I love writing dialogue.
Hmm.
And it's easy on the page because you've got them split up from
Yes.
going from one character to another character to another character. But then I think reading it aloud, unless you're I love doing accents, but I think it's probably easier to do a sort of maybe a high voice and a low voice or something, but or pause in between. Um, but I recommend when I'm teaching or doing editing, of not having any more than six
Mm,
lines, so three exchanges without doing something, even if it's somebody picking up a cup of tea or a bit of or a dialogue tag.
hmm.
Um, but I think it's written very short, so it just literally bounces back and forth.
The other thing it reminds me of is Waiting for Godot,
Oh yes.
where they're waiting for something to happen, and so anything that else that's going on they think is totally irrelevant
Mm,
to
thing
um
to do.
yeah.
We need to talk about.
Hmm.
So we shall end with your haiku,
Right.
please.
Okay. Now I was wondering if I could find something really cheerful, and I think I should go for something very seasonal.
Okay.
And I mean, haiku don't often get titles, but for the sake of the anthology,
Mm.
I've grouped it into a number of um, awakenings. So this is
Okay.
the blue awakening.
Okay.
Steps crisp through copper, sunlight sparkling through the new leaves, soft scent of bluebells.
Oh, can we have it again, please?
Steps crisp through copper, sunlight sparkling through new leaves, soft scent of bluebells.
Nice. Lots of S's.
Mm.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
just, yeah, I mean, obviously, haiku captures a moment, and
Mm.
uh, the moment that you can get out into our local woods and smell the
Mm.
bluebells is always a favourite time of year for me.
Nice. I used to live probably about 10 miles away from here, and the top of the road there was the woods,
Mhm.
and it's just awash with bluebells. Beautiful, really lovely. Thank you. It's been
You're welcome, and
a
thank you
lovely
very much for
evening.
inviting me.
Well, oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for coming. Yes, we have to make the most of this only being two of us, because I'm
Mhm.
hoping once this is the second one, once this gets going, that we will have more people, and then have an author once a month at least,
Mhm.
fill in the gaps. Thank you. That's
Okay.
brilliant, and I'll see you soon in real life.
Yes,
Yes.
Monday. I'm on the panel on Monday.
Oh yes, you are.
Yes.
Yes, day after
Um,
tomorrow. That's on beginnings.
yes.
Yes, that's great. There'll be six of us there. Brilliant. Thank
Great.
you. I'll see you then, and then see you on Tuesday in real life.
Yes, indeed.
All right, lovely. Thank you,
Okay.
Beth. Okay.
Thanks, Morgan. Bye for
Okay, no
now.
problem. Bye bye.